Hey everybody, it's Bryan Juell with Seaside Realty with your real estate market update for August of 2020. Our one-word market update for this month is appreciating. If you've been paying any attention to the real estate market, you will know that it is absolutely going crazy. Appreciation is going wild right now. Many properties have multiple offers, interest rates are super low, and it has totally changed the expectation for the real estate market. If any of you receive updates from Zillow or from Redfin, they were forecasting a drop in appreciation this year of up to 1 to 2%. I, however, was never expecting a drop of any kind. I expected, based on low inventory that we had for the past 2 years, basically, to kind of just keep us steady. But with coronavirus, we have seen a real lack of listings, and that has basically shorted the inventory. And then couple that with some really, really low interest rates. And now we have more buyers around, we've got less listings. And just based on standard economic principle of supply and demand, we've got really low supply, a decent amount of demand, but that demand is being propped up by the fact that the interest rates are so low that buyers who may not have afforded at these price points are in a very good position to afford the price points. And so it is shooting prices up. It is creating multiple bids on properties, so much so that sellers and their agents are even asking for properties to be offered on with the appraisal being waived because there are not enough comps in a recent enough time frame to support the market pricing that is being offered and paid for these houses. So a whole new world in real estate right now in terms of the market and how quickly it's moving. But it definitely is moving. It's moving quickly, and things are moving in favor of sellers in a big way. Let's get to a few numbers for you so that you can see what I'm talking about. And feel free to subscribe to the channel. Feel free to ask me questions. Get in touch with me. I do have my contact information there in the upper right. But reach out to me and let me know if you've got questions on anything. I really enjoy real estate and enjoy discussing all aspects of it, not just what's currently on the market, but principles and where the market's headed, those types of discussions. So the current actives in our market, now I'm talking just Camarillo, residential, but we're down to 104 active listings on the market on today, which is August 22nd of 2020. That's down 5% from when I just did my last market update 1 month ago today. On July 22nd, we had 110. Our solds are up big. We're up 43%. We had 116 properties sell in July. Now, that is a good indicator because that means that means properties are hitting the market. They're just being gobbled up so quickly that our active numbers are not rising. But I'm going to show you some stuff on actives in just a minute, which could surprise you. So like I mentioned, we had 81 sales in June, and our July numbers are up 90% from May, in which we only had 61. So you can see that our sales numbers are increasing, and that's good. August, though, so far through 22 days only has 79. So I'm expecting a bit of a drop by the time the total sales are calculated at the end of the month. The market data, the year-to-date yearly comparison statistics show we're only down about 3.4%. We've only had 22 fewer homes sell all the way through July than we did in 2019. The year over year from August 1st through July 1st, from 18 to 19, we're actually up 47 units of sale. We have sold 1,042 from 19 to 20 versus the 995 that sold from that same time frame, 2018, 2019. Month over month, as I mentioned, we're up 43.2% with 116 homes selling in July and 81 homes selling in June. The year to year, July's monthly comparison actually shows a decrease, though, but very minor. We only had one less house sell in July this year than July of last year. The real concern for me as a realtor looking at these numbers is the active inventory levels. And all the other stuff kind of looks good and it looks okay and it looks on track. My concern is for buyers. And and how they're going to survive this market or what they're going to do with this market. Now, the one thing benefiting you as a buyer, like I mentioned, the interest rates, but our current active totals, as I mentioned, we're down 5.5%. Now, this number is staggering. The 242 actives that we had August 1st of last year. So we are off of that active number, which is already kind of low. We're down 57.02% since the peak inventory of last year. That is a major concern for buyers and kind of how they're going to compete or what they're going to do with just a lack of inventory. And now with the low interest rates and other buyers being in the market. So what the data tells us is we're critically low in terms of inventory, well under our typical seasonal numbers. We're firmly in a seller's market, and we're seeing this active inventory continue to drop, which we really should not see. If anything, we should see increasing inventory numbers, even though we're headed out of the typical seller summer months. We should still, because we got a delay because of coronavirus, we should see numbers increasing into the fall, but we're not seeing that. They continue to fall and fall and fall on an active basis, and that is a bit of a concern. So the market forecasts and projections, the interest rates are already at historic low levels, but they do not appear to be going anywhere but down. Week by week, I keep thinking, well, they got to hold there. They got to hold there. When they were at 2.99% for 30-year fixed, I thought, well, they're not going to go any lower, and they are continuing to trend down. Prices are going to increase on the low supply and the low rates. Just understand that when rates are low and money is cheap, other borrowers can borrow a bunch of money. And if you're paying 15% interest on a $500,000 house, you're going to end up paying a lot more over the life of the loan than if you're paying 1% interest on $1 million house. So that is fueling the price increases, but it's also an organic increase. The organic aspect of it is that there are not very many properties. And so if people want to buy a house, they are competing over a very low supply. That aspect of it does not have me worried at all about a bubble, but rather you got to watch the supply numbers. Nothing's going to change in real estate until the supply numbers increase. So what could do that? You could have massive job losses that actually are sustained, which we did not yet have with coronavirus. And even though we did have a few job losses, and hopefully that's not you who I'm talking to, but those concerns were remedied by government programs that were going to keep people in their homes, no evictions, those types of things. So really going to keep the supply numbers pretty low until sellers get ready to sell properties en masse again. And the low interest rates are creating buyers that were not going to be buyers. But now that everybody's got access to cheaper money, they can access more money to create competition for people who maybe were looking in the, say, $700,000 range that were not expecting competition in that range. But now buyers that were once in the $600,000 range might be creating competition in the $700,000 range because of how cheap the money is and how much further it can go on a monthly basis. Most buyers are going to buy, yes, on the sale price, but they're also going to buy on their monthly debt to income ratios. And that's what lenders base their lending on, is how much money you make versus how much you're going to be spending and how much you've already got allocated to other costs. Well, all of a sudden your housing costs are being cut by 25%. If you're taking a really big loan, that means you've got a lot more money you can spend on a sale price, and people are taking advantage of that. So the demand on these low rates is really shifting the market into a seller's favor. The buyers are going to see increased competition from other buyers on these low rates with the access to money and the low inventory, and with not enough houses available to satisfy the buyer demand. So we are in for a sustained period of a seller's market. So some advice for you, whichever side of the transaction you happen to be on. Some of you may end up being on both sides. And so it's important to know what the other side is looking at doing so that you can make the best decision for you. So it's a seller's market right now. So if you're a seller, really hone in on what's important. And what's important is that your property is clean. Okay. And as long as it is, you're probably looking at multiple offers as long as you price properly. Even though the market's on fire and it's very much in the seller's favor, if you go overboard, Buyers are going to know that, and your property is going to sit. And if your property sits too long, it's going to get stale. And regardless of the market, you're not going to be appealing. So eliminate items. Really what you should be looking for is don't redo the kitchen. Don't make massive improvements and spend a bunch of money. Really just get your property to market and let the market do what it's going to do. But really what you want to do is eliminate any items that would cause buyers to have questions about your house. Nothing kills a buyer's spirit more than walking through a house and seeing something that's just completely out of place or that should have been at least repaired, and having them say to themselves as they walk through, I wonder why that's there. If you can avoid those simple mistakes, which should be very minor fixes. Let's say you've got a broken or a chipped mirror or window. Let's say you've got a hole in the wall for whatever reason. Fix that stuff. Anything you can do to avoid a buyer questioning what happened at your house is really going to save you a lot of money. So that should be your key. Just make sure it's cleaned up, make sure that there are no questions, and make sure when buyers walk through, they can assess the property for what it is, take a look around, and decide to make their offers. For buyers, you got a really tough market coming. One main benefit, like we mentioned, is these low interest rates. So you do have more access to money, but you are kind of stuck in a really rough position with the fact that sellers know they've got an advantage. Sellers know there's not a lot of properties on the market, and sellers know that you've got access to cheaper money, and many buyers are willing to offer more money for homes than they were in the past. So you've got increased competition, you've got low for sale, active inventory, and buyers are going to be struggling for a little while until something changes in the market. And like I mentioned, what's going to change in the market is going to be something that brings more supply onto the market. So whatever event that happens to be that brings more sales and more people listing their properties, that's what you're looking for. And unfortunately, with what a lot of people were thinking what was going to go on with coronavirus was massive evictions and foreclosures. That's not happening. And many people are, afraid to either have people in their house. They don't know where to go, so they don't really want to sell right now. And so those aspects of the coronavirus and the pandemic have really shorted the market in terms of getting properties out there. And so what that's leaving is it's leaving just a few houses that are trickling on the market from people who have an idea of where they want to go, or they want to sell because they want to move to a new house, but there are not enough to keep pace with the amount of buyers that want to buy. And so that is a major concern from the buyer's perspective. So be aware of that. Some recent activity for me, sold, pending, and listed, representing the seller. I had two recently, 1708 Monte Vista Drive in the Del Prado neighborhood. Really nice house. That was a great transaction. And 28 Gitana in the 55 plus community of Camarillo Springs Village Mobile Home Park. I have another property coming up in that same neighborhood. This one's a 2009 build. It was manufactured in 2009. It's got 3 bedrooms, an additional covered patio. It's a corner lot. We're going to be probably hitting the market in about 2 weeks for about 430, unless things change, but we're going to monitor conditions. But, I'll have more details to come. We'll hit the MLS, obviously, when we're ready. But if you think you or someone you know might be interested and you want to contact me directly, please let me know, and I can get you some information on the property prior to us hitting market. But we can't have any showings till we're actually ready to go on. I've represented a few buyers recently, one in at Riverdale Court in Village of the Park, a condo, and then one north of Las Posas on Lyndhurst. Both really nice places, really fantastic deals. The other realtors on the other side were really great. So pleasure to work with them. And experience-wise, please check out the completed transactions that I've had. I've represented buyers and sellers and investors and all kinds. So please check it out. Please look at what people have had to say about their experiences working with me. I put a link down there also, not only to the transactions and the types of properties that I've dealt with, $1.5 million properties, a couple $100,000 properties, all over the board, buyers, sellers. Like I said, I'm ready to work for you. Check out the client reviews, though. I put a link in the main market update, and check out what people have said about working with me and how diligent I work and how hard I work for my clients. I really desire to make the client experience just top notch and 100% satisfaction. And so I want to bring that to you. And if you're looking for a realtor that's looking to do that, I think I might be the one to work for you. So take a look at those reviews and see what other people have said about their experiences with me. So in terms of real estate services, like I said, buyers, sellers, investors, and check out the reviews. Like I mentioned, I'm informative, I'm transparent, I'm honest, I'm educational. I'm definitely not pushy. I just want to help people have a positive experience with real estate. And I want to let you know what all of your options are so that when you go to make a decision, you're making a decision with all the information at your fingertips and at hand, and you can make the best decision for you or your family. I take the idea of agency very seriously. I'm not going to push an agenda on you. I'm not making decisions for you. I'm presenting you with information. And when you make that decision, I'm going to go to bat for you and do the best job that I can to help you accomplish your goals. So if you've got any questions about anything, you've got, advice, or you need some help with something, please let me know. I've got all the information there right above me. And you can also comment here on this video on YouTube. So let me know if I can do anything for you, and I'll be happy to talk with you about real estate. Okay. All right. That was the August 2020 market update by Bryan Juell with Seaside Realty here in Camarillo. So enjoy. If you are out in the market and you're buying and selling, please take this advice. It is 100% honest, and I just want you to know where you stand. Buyers, like I said, you're going to have a tough time for a little while. I don't see this market calming down. And sellers, just make sure you understand where you are in the market. Don't go overboard, even though you've got an advantage right now. Utilize the advantage to maximize your potential. Don't go crazy, because it may end up costing you. All right, you guys take it easy. Let me know if you got questions about anything. Thanks a lot.